So the next input is, as we have selected the first tangent and the second tangent of the circle. Next, it's asking for the radius. So based on the radius, whatever we specify, the circle will get located. Suppose if I am specifying a radius of 5, it is located in this manner, so that the end circle is tangent to the first object as well as the second object, maintaining a radius of 5. Let us repeat the same command with a different tangent radius to see how the circle gets positioned into it. So let us give a radius of 1.5. See, now the circle of 1.5 radius is drawn. It might not contact these two objects, but if we extrapolate this object, it will be a tangent to this circle. So this is how we can position this. So later on we can see like how we can manipulate these commands to take an object for reference. So I'll quickly show you something. So basically, so what I'm doing is I'm just extrapolating these lines to the object, and then I'm trimming it off these. Okay, let me roll back. So basically I want to trim this out. Okay. So selecting these three objects, and I'm trimming off this line and also this one. So now coming out of this, so you have got a neat structured object, that is, you have a circle, then you have two tangent line, and then you have an object. So we'll dwell a lot into the extend and trim commands, but you can see how well you can use these commands, that is tangent to tangent radius and all, to draw your images. You can also see the same thing represented in your examples, whereas here the example states that there is two different objects, and the third object of 0.175 is drawn in such a way that it has created a new dimension, and the other one, the tan to three different objects, is used to position a circle within three boundary conditions. Let us try and simulate the same condition and see how it fares. So let us remove all. So for this tangent, there's no direct command available. If you click on tan, this is what has been displayed. That is, it selects a 3p, and then there's again a tan2 command, but if you try and enter it, it will throw out an error. So let me simulate this to you. So creating a circle and then selecting 3p and then tan2, then it will show as an invalid point. Okay, so but there's another command. So to show it first, let us draw random 3 lines and then try and position the tangent to it. So we are selecting in the graphical menu tan and selecting the first object, second deferred tangent, and third. So this is how the object gets positioned within itself. So let us replicate this but with a different command. So let me delete this out. So there's a separate command called AI_circtan. AI_circtan. So here it will select the tangent spec, the enter tangent spec for object 1, object 2, and object 3. So this is an indirect command. This is a quick tip for people who require this tangent command through the command prompt. Okay. Yeah, so this sums up the circle commands. So what we have seen here is there are 3 different categories. we have the center radius, center diameter. This comes in the first part, and second part we have the 2-point method, which specifies the diametrically opposite points of a circle. And 3-point, we specify 3 points on the circumference of the circle. And in the third methodology, we specify the circle tangent to 2 objects and specifying the radius. And the last method, we specify a circle to fit to tangent to 3 objects. So next, let's look at the arc command. So arc basically draws a curvilinear arc through different methods. So the first is specifying through 3 points, arc drawn through 3 points with the start point, end point and the center point. So next you have the module for start center end, start center angle and start center length. So here the first two is common, that is start and center is common, where you specify the end or the angle or the length. In the next module, what you have here is you specify the start and then the end point, then defined based on the angle or direction or radius. And in the next command, what you have specified is the center point and then the start point, end point, and likewise angle and length. So depending on the requirement, which points is available to you for reference and which points are required to draw the arc, you can start with. So let's start with the first method for 3 points. So to type in this, you click in A and it will select the arc points. So you can select the start point of the arc, and next it asks for the second point and then the third point. So this is the first method where you will draw an arc through 3 points in the draw area. So this is the first method, and moving forward, the second method, wherein if you want to select, sorry, let me go back here, yeah, the arc command. So the second is specifying the start, center and or the end. So in order to invoke this, so let us go with the 3-point method itself, the arc center, and based on the command, if we want to invoke the second model, that is the next point is the center. So first you specify the start point and next you specify it as the center point. So now it will go into this module of execution. So here, now first as your second given the start point, now we are specifying the center point. Next it will ask for option of either going to specify the end point, that by default, or selecting the angle or the chord length. So let us first start with the end point of the arc. So as you could see here, the first point is fixed here and then the center point is fixed, and now it is asking for the end point. So based on your specification of end point, your arc is getting defined. So if I am clicking the end point even outside here, it is selecting a line through which it is getting truncated. So for this arc, you have your start point, you have your center point and the third point truncated by this. So this is the 3-point arc command, but again with a start, center and an end point. So let us go back to this same command, start center, specifying the first as start point, then entering C to select the center command, and now, so again specifying a center as here. Now let us choose the method to choose the angle. So we'll click on A. So now it will ask for the included angle. So suppose if the angle is 45, so this is the included angle of it. So line drawn to here and this angle, let us draw a line for more clarity. So this is one command, we'll look in deeper here, but quickly let us see what is the angle between these two parts. And so yeah, the angle is 45 degrees. So this command draws an included angle between the start and the center point. So moving forward, so we have the third command in here, that is start, center and the length. So this length actually the chord length, so let us select this. So the start point, and to select the center, press C. Sorry, let me come back again. Select the arc, specify the first point as start point, then mention the second as center, specify the center point, and then click on L to go into the chord length mode. Now you specify the chord length between these two points. So supposing the chord length to be 12, so the arc is drawn with a chord length of 12. Let us draw a line between these two and measure the distance between this. Draw back again. You have to measure the distance. So distance between this point and this point, the distance is 12. So this is your chord length. So this is sums up the modeling of this arc through this method. So you again select the 3-point arc, which is a basic, but you start off with the start point, and when prompted you enter the center through C command, and then specify either it's the end or the angle, included angle, or the chord length. So for the angle, if you specify the negative command, it will take the negative direction. For example, if you give in -45, it will change the direction to it. So this is one part that you can note on the start, center and end point. So next, let's look into this start, end and angle command. So here you will start off with 3-point, but you'll go further, specify the start point, and instead of center you specify the end point, and then select one among these. So let's take it further. So let us create an arc, and we specify the start point, and then we denote that it's going to be the end point. And then see, by default it is asking for the center point for the 3-point, but we have to prompt that no, we are going into the sub command to it. So first let us select the angle as A, and now we have to specify the angle, what is your included angle. So here again let us simulate the negative angle. So if we click on -45, so we'll get an angle like this, wherein let us replicate the arc again. Let us click on enter, so that the arc command is getting replicated. So we'll specify the start point and the end point as E, and then as angle, and now let us give 45 degree positive. So see, this is the positive angle and this is the negative angle, which we have invoked by selecting the start point and the end point and specifying the included distance. So the next command is start, end and with the direction. So this direction is a tangent to the start. So based on the tangent line, an imaginary tangent line, you can draw the arc. So selecting the arc command, start point, specifying the end through E, and then specifying the direction as D. Now see, this yellow line is the imaginary tangent line to which you can draw your arc to. So based on this, changing the direction to it, you can either draw the arc downwards or upwards, or you can change the direction based on the start point. So this is your start point, end point and direction based arc. So next we have the start, end and the radius. So the start point, the end point and specifying R for the radius. Now entering the radius is 5. Alternatively, you can also click on the control command to quickly change in the direction. So what we have given is the radius as 5, and so here you get your direction. radius through 5. So the start point, end point, and finally the radius. So this is the second part of your arc command. Sorry, the third part. The first part is the 3 point, the second part is start, center, and the subsequent commands. Third part is start and end. So now let's move on to the next part where you mention the center point and then the start point. So typically this is the inverse of the second model. So you just get interchange. Instead of the start and center, you go with the center and start. This might be useful when you have the center point, but you have to determine the start later. So let us go into this way. So you click on A, and now in order to go into the center mode, click on C. So now the first prompt is for the center point, and the subsequent menu is only one. There is no option here. Only the start point is allowed here. So now click on the start point. Now select the method, that is the end point. So as you saw in the previous methodology, it's the same. So you can select this, and so going on the next one, you specify the center and the start point and the angle, that is the included angle. So 45, pressing again the control, even without entering the negative angle, you can specify in this way. So pressing on enter for 45 degree of included, but with a direction reverse. This is your arc, and replicating the command again using center and the start point of arc like this, and then specifying the chord length, say 45. Oh sorry, yeah, so this doesn't fit between the start and end point, so it shows an invalid. So let us take a normal point. So center, arc, center, the start point, chord length. So specifying the chord length as this. So this is the fourth option that we have got here. So this sums up the arc command. So also we have one more thing called as the continue. This creates an arc tangent to whatever the object or the last line that we have drawn in an image, so that instead of prompting it further, so for example, if we use the continue command here, it automatically picks out from the last point that we have constructed. We need not specify this point. The last curve was this, so it has started from this. So this is the start point command. So now we can either complete this by mentioning the end point only. So based on end point only, this command works in. So if my endpoint is this, it gets in. So we don't have the option for selecting the center point or the angle or the chord length, but rather only the endpoint. But this is useful to continue from the previous point and drawing tangent to that point. So this sums up the arc segment of the draw command. So next let's look into the ellipse section. So before that, let's erase all of it. Okay, so ellipse is invoked by the command el, and before that, let's look into what are the options available in ellipse. So in this ribbon you can see the ellipse command. So ellipse you can draw by specifying the center point and then the end point of the first axis, and then specifying the half length of the second axis. So as you know, in ellipse you have the major axis and the minor axis. So by these two commands you specify the major and minor axis by specifying either center or the end point and axis. Okay, so going in, third option is the elliptical arc. Let us look at it for later. First let us look into only these two, the ellipse through center and the axis. So you invoke the ellipse command by el, and then so it asks for the axis endpoint of the ellipse. So you specify the first endpoint and specify the other endpoint. So by this you are defining the first axis. So next you specify the distance of the second axis. So based on the distance, it can act as the minor axis or the major axis. Suppose if that axis half length is smaller than the first distance what we have mentioned earlier, then it becomes the minor axis. If it's larger, it becomes the major axis. You can see the direction change here. So let us click on here. So by this you have constructed a perfect ellipse through specifying the two endpoints and specifying the axis. So this is your second command here. So now the other command, let's go in here. So let us select the center point. So we have defined the center point of the axis and the end point, and again selecting the other axis length. So the two ellipses are created in the same way, but except one is by specifying the two endpoints and then the axis length, the other through the center endpoint and the axis length. So going through it again, if you can see the center point axis again, the end point. Also there's a command wherein you can specify the rotation. So if you click on the R, now this ellipse is rotated along an imaginary circle point. So as you can see, that circle based on the view axis line, you will get a new ellipse. So based on rotation of this imaginary circle along an axis, you will get an ellipse. So this is the other way of representing these two curves. So this is the center, the end point, and rotation. Based on the rotation, the axis is defined. So let us simulate this mode. So we select the end point of the axis and then again specify the rotation to get the similar effect. So this sums up the ellipse generation through center and axis and endpoint methodology. Next we have the arc method. So you invoke the ellipse command and click on A to invoke the arc. So here you are expected to specify the endpoint of the elliptical arc, the first point, and then the second point, and then specify the distance. So until that point it is same as the earlier. Now comes the additional parameters. So now you can select the start angle from which point is going to start, and then the end angle, so at which point it gets completed. So this gives you an elliptical arc. If you click on this object, you can see what is the original ellipse and what is our arc point. So now moving forward, again selecting the arc command, we can also specify by selecting the center and the end point, specifying the distance, and again specifying the start point, end point. So it means that you are indirectly revoking these two commands, but specifying start and the end angle, you truncate the ellipse to form an arc. This is the arc command that goes into. So we have additional arc commands that can be invoked. So we'll use this command itself. So now we'll specify this. Now we also have a parameter called a P. If you click on P and enter it, you again specify this. Instead of the start angle and the end angle, you specify the start parameter and the end parameter. Based on that, the included angle is computed and figured out. So instead also you can go for the explicit mention of your axis. So in parameter window, wherein you can specify the angle of start and end. So by this you can interchange between your start angle, end angle, or the included angle or parameterization for elliptical arc. So this sums up the function of ellipse. So this is a perfect ellipse that you are drawn. But there is also a system variable called as a PELLIPSE, that is a polyline ellipse. So what it does is, you can see here you have the PELLIPSE. So now it is in off condition, that is it will create a true ellipse object. If you click on 1, it's a PELLIPSE. So now you construct a ellipse. So now this is a combination of separate polylines. So each and every point is considered as a polyline object. This is not a true ellipse. This is a true ellipse. You can see here it is seamless, but here it is broken into segments. So this is just a rendering option, but you can also make use of this. This is a hidden command. So let us revert back to the command. So let us go back and make sure we always create a true ellipse. So this sums up the ellipse command. So we have erased everything, and so with this we have completed week's 1 session. So now we'll move back to the Power presentation slide and let us summarize the learnings what we have for this first week. So in this course preamble, we had briefly looked into what is drafting is about, why it is required, and what are the different technologies it employs. And we had also looked into what is orthographic projections all about and what is the first angle of projection. And moving forward, we had a brief overview of what is computer-aided design is and how it has evolved over the ages. And then we had discussed on the AutoCAD features and benefits. And next we've also looked into the AutoCAD interface, the workspace settings, the menu bar, application ribbon, all those things. And next we have also looked into these topics of drafting. That is, we have looked into how to construct a line, a circle, arc, ellipse. We have discussed on different methodologies, how we can invoke them, and what are the commands pertaining to them, and what are the different methods it can be employed. And also we have looked into the usage of erase command to erase each and every the previous commands, and also to retrieve the last erased object. We also have seen the utilization of oops command. So following this, you can look into the assignment to have a practice session. Thank you.